I tweeted that earlier, actually, that this was going to be pants optional. So thanks for taking my advice, guys. Hi, everyone. I am H. Alan Scott. Have you ever been in one of those relationships that you just can't get out of? You know what I mean? It's just like you're stuck in it, and like you're in this rut, and it's kind of killing you in some ways. That's how I think of my cancer. Yeah. My cancer is, you know, there's absolutely no good way to tell a crowd that you have cancer. Like you can't just start it by being like, you know, oh, how's the weather today? It's crazy, I have cancer. It's like, and even like in a 1920s newsreel voice, it's still not weird and awkward for people. I think of my cancer as like a loud black woman, you know what I mean, who like is just yelling all the time, and you can't tell her to shut up because you don't want to seem racist. Just constantly in my head. It's there. And a couple of months ago, I had a pain in my groin, and they originally thought it was an STD, which I was kind of half hoping for because I could use that street cred. And I went to the doctor, and it wasn't an STD. They said I had elevated HCG levels, which in women it means it's a good sign that you have pregnancy. It's usually found in pregnant women, but in men it means tumors. And I was kind of half hoping that I might be a medical miracle and be pregnant. Not a possibility. And so, like, it just happened so quickly that this, like, here I am in Hollywood, and I'm in a urologist's office, and it looks like Dr. Seaver's office on Growing Pains, and it's like, it's wood paneled, and my pants are down, and it's like, this is not what the Hollywood director's couch was supposed to be like for me. And he's has his hand on my testicles, and then the next moment, he's telling me that I need emergency surgery to remove my left testicle, the shower of the two. And I'm blown away by this, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I leave his office, and like, I'm walking through like Beverly Hills, and I just pass a fat burger, and I just go in, and I start to eat the shit out of a fat burger, and every bite, I'm thinking like, I have cancer, you know, like, this beautiful fat burger, and I have cancer, and like, and also, why am I here? I'm a vegetarian. Like, this is, I had no clue of directions of what was happening to me, and I just kept eating the fat burger, and then like, recently, my doctor told me that there's a mark on my left lung, and he doesn't know what it is, and the cancer might be spreading, and we don't know, so we're waiting it out. But like, you know, if I would have known that my balls was going to give me lung cancer, I wouldn't have quit smoking years ago. That was the first thought. And as I was leaving the doctor's office that day, I was driving down 3rd Street in Los Angeles, and I made a left turn. I was talking with my mom and like going over that conversation. You haven't lived until you've had a conversation with your mom about your cancer. It's an awkward moment. And I hear sirens, and a police officer is pulling me over, and like, I had been talking about cancer a lot at that point, so I figured I would make a joke to the police officer, hoping that maybe I could get out of the ticket. Because this is a perfect way to get out of a ticket, is just say you have cancer, and you know, your cancer might be spreading. So I pull out my chest scan, and I tell him, sir, I just found out that my cancer might be spreading to my lungs. Here's my chest scan. So you might want to consider the karmic repercussions that could come from whatever you're about to do. But the dick still gave me a ticket. Like, I know, what an asshole, right? But the German in me doesn't want to hold it against him because, like, I did break the law, you know. But still, like, the asshole in me is like, you're a dickhead. So one of the great things about cancer is it allows you to be honest with people, you know, and really kind of live in the moment and share what you're feeling. And so, like, you know, for example, sir, I would love to sit on your face, and you know, ma'am, that scarf probably should rethink it. Like, there's just this honesty that just frees you, you know. I have to say, with cancer, there are things that before you can start your treatment for cancer that you have to prepare for, you know. And one of the things that I had to do before I started my chemotherapy was, they don't tell you this when you get cancer, but sometimes you need to have teeth pulled. I needed to have 3 teeth pulled before I started chemo because of possible infections in those teeth. So they took out 3 of the teeth. I also think it was because I wasn't single enough. I needed to really push that forward. The teeth got pulled, and like, you know, it was actually, that moment was probably harder than finding out that I had cancer, to be honest with you, because I was at home in St. Louis, where I'm originally from, and I kind of went on this like cancer road trip before I started chemo, I needed to see family and friends and sort of deal with things before I really started chemo, and I was healing from the surgery, and I went home, saw my dentist at home in St. Louis, and I'm sitting in the chair, and he tells me I need to lose these teeth, and I'm just like, I've had doctors tell me things lately, like they just want to they rape me of my testicle, and then like another doctor wants to pump me full of all these poisonous drugs, and like now this doctor wants to take 3 of my teeth? Like, when is this gonna end? Do I get to keep my dick? Like, I don't know what's happening to me, and I just start, it all just kind of hits me all of a sudden. I just start crying, I'm just bawling. And then my mom starts crying, and then the nurse starts crying, and there's just like this, everyone's crying in this moment. And like, I'm getting angry because it's my cancer show. Like, you guys, you can cry if you want on your own, but like, this is my deal here. And so the teeth got pulled, and then like, chemo kills your spunk. So I had to freeze my sperm. And I tasked the job of finding a sperm bank out to my mother, because we're not close enough. And one of the reasons I decided to freeze my sperm near my mom's house was because I wanted her to be near the grandkids. She found the sperm bank. She's a good finder, and the night before I'm supposed to go to the sperm bank, I read the rules for jerking off into a cup. There are rules. And one of them was that you have to abstain for 7 days prior to the deposit. Well, I had had a particularly lonesome morning, twice, and I had this freak out thinking like, holy fuck, or is my chances of ever having a biological child someday completely fucked because I have no self-control when it comes to on-demand cable? Like, what does this say about me, one, and like, can it get any worse? And then I'm thinking like, I can't cancel the appointment because then I'm gonna have to admit to my mother why I'm canceling the appointment that she made for me and what happened in that room that is now her sewing room but used to be my bedroom. You know, the naughty things that took place, and now it's pastel and it's weird, and like, who does that in that kind of room? Me, apparently. Cable on demand. And so I decide that like, I'm young enough, my spunk's gonna make it, like it's strong. I only have 5 days until I start chemo, so I either can do this and just trust my spunk or not. So I decided to, you know, live Oprah's best life and trust my spunk. And so I get to the sperm bank. Sperm banks are absolutely nothing like you saw in Will and Grace. Like, nothing at all. It was in a hospital, and the nurse did not wear an appealing outfit, nor did she have an attitude. And she takes me into this room, and I go in this room, and there's no sexy time on my phone because I'm in a hospital, so like America's largest 3G failure again. And I turn on the television, and it's HGTV and CNN. That's all I get. HGTV and CNN. I did what I had to do. You know what I mean? I did what I had to do. I accomplished it. But like, I also feel like I should write an apology letter to the morning weatherman on CNN for what happened between us. But at least I'll have kids one day. So chemo started, and chemo is exactly as you'd imagine. It's shitty. It's total shit. Like, imagine being dizzy all of the time and always sleepy, but never able to throw up, really, and also never able to sleep for months. That's chemotherapy. It's hard to pinpoint kind of the lowest moment that I had during chemo because every single day was low. Like, every single day was low. There was no good day. You know, you always kind of feel like shit, and like, it's encompassing your entire life. You're losing your hair, and I remember I shaved my head in advance because that's what the movies told me to do, and so the head was shaved, and then like it started kind of growing back, but then I'd rub my head and like the hair would just come off in places and like hair, but then some hair would, and then people would see like, oh, well, why aren't your eyebrows missing now? I didn't write the book on hair loss, people. All right, like I don't judge the hair. And so there was no, I can't really pinpoint the low moment because it all was shitty. And you know, you think these deep thoughts like during it, like, you know, why is this all encompassing? Is this going to define me? Is this who I am now? How long am I going to be like this? Is everyone going to always remember me this way? In between you like dry heaving, trying to barf, and then you get back to reality and you just keep trying to throw up that carrot that won't stay down. So when I started chemo, I contacted my friend Daryl. My friend Daryl, he had Ewing sarcoma. He had been diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma a couple years prior. It's a back cancer, like a spinal cancer. And so naturally, he was going through chemo. He was going to be the person that I was going to reach out to because he could relate to sort of what I was going through. And you know, he and I, we were never crazy close, but he came to every single show that I would do here in New York, and he moved back to Atlanta to be with his family as he went through treatment. And he would come to shows, and like performers, if you're a performer, you stand on stage, and like the audience is very important, but so is like that person who has that one great laugh. There's that one audience member that has that one great laugh, and you focus on that one person, and he had that kind of laugh. And he and I had a mutual love of Sandra Bullock. How many people love Sandra Bullock? Not many. So you and I after the show. But so like immediate BFFs. You love Sandra Bullock, we are tight. Love Sandra Bullock, The Blind Side, right guys? So anyway, we had that in common, and like a couple years ago, when I found out he had cancer, I was in Los Angeles, and I had been in Los Angeles for a couple of months and out of touch, and I had just gotten back to New York, and our friends had arranged to get together. It was around Halloween, and some people were in costume, some people weren't, and I saw Daryl sitting there, and he looked sick. He didn't look well, you know, he didn't look horribly sick, but he looked sick, and like, I'm one of those people that my foot is often in my mouth. It just gets in there and I say things and I don't think about it and then I tweet it again and I'm like, Scott, learn your lesson. And I looked at him and I almost said to him, "What, are you a cancer patient?" Yeah. And so then I told him that and he allowed me to use that in my act for like 2 years. He loved that joke. But he did have cancer. And so when I started chemo, we would text each other and we'd sort of commiserate on what was going on. For example, like we would, the nurses these nurses, I mean, if you're a nurse, you're great, anyone in the audience, but like the rest of them, bitches. They total bitches. Like, my God, my nurse like was sending money to this African man and she would tell me about it every fucking day and it was like, who the fuck, and she looked like Coach Beast with lipstick. Like it was from Glee. It was so bad. And like, she would talk, and then this other guy, this gay guy, he would come over and he would just talk to me about gay shit. And I'm just thinking like, I can't even get my dick up. Why are you talking to me about gay shit? Like, stop, just go away. And you could come on my face right now and I wouldn't even notice. That's how sick I am. Like, just leave me alone. And so we would text each other back and forth. And you know, it was in that moment that we both kind of realized like that desire to murder someone, you know what I mean? Like now I know what that is. Like I relate to murderers now because I wanted to pull an Equus moment and stab these nurses in the eyes. Just every single day, just stab them. Because they're stabbing me every day, why don't I get one day? So it gets to a point where I finish what I hope will be my last cycle of chemotherapy, and I'm kind of happy, but I'm sick, so I'm not too happy. And I learned that it will also be Daryl's last part of chemotherapy as well from a Facebook status update. And the Facebook status update says that the doctors are releasing him to home because there's nothing more they can do for him. And it's on a Facebook update. And it's like, that's beautiful in a way, because he's okay, he's comfortable, and he's happy, and he's being honest. He's being so beautifully honest about what's happening to him. And I I'm trying to understand sort of, you know, what this means. And then a couple of weeks later, he dies. And it's like, that's what this is about. That's how this works. And I don't know how to process something like that, because you talk to someone who's going through the exact same thing as you, and you're talking about stabbing nurses in their eyes, and you're loving Sandra Bullock, and you're talking about people coming on your face, and then you die. And what does that mean? Like, what does any of that mean? Why was I meant to talk to this man? Why was I meant to meet this man and love Sandra Bullock together? And selfishly, what does this mean for me? Like, why it's not survivor's guilt, because this is not an episode of Dr. Phil, but like, why am I here and he's not? And why was he able to be so beautifully honest and I am left to sort of tweet about it? And it's like, I don't get what this means. And I'm looking at it, and when you have cancer, you think about death a lot. You know what I mean? You think about sort of what would happen if you die. You know, there's like, for example, there's a saying, you could get hit by a bus at any time, right? We all know rationally that we could die at any single moment, and whatever, it could happen. You could drop dead. It's saying the bus could hit you and you could drop dead. But like, for y'all, watch where you're going, you know? Avoid buses. But like, for me, I have this mark on my left lung, and like Derek, we were talking about coming on someone's faces, and then, and Daryl, and then now he's dead, and it's like what does that mean? And it could happen, and you feel it really low, and you wonder, who's gonna remember me? What's going to happen to me? Who's gonna erase my browser history? The important questions in life, really. And then you realize that it goes back to that moment of honesty, you know what I mean? And that's what really all of it's about. Like, even I don't know what is gonna happen to me, and that is a shitty feeling, and it's raw and it's real and whatever, it's being honest. But like, that's what it's all about. You know, it's about telling a man that you wanna kiss him, or that, you know, you're comfortable and happy in your last moments on a Facebook status update. And it's about being honest, and it's in those interactions, in the beginnings with people, where you're most honest, that life is about, really. And I love that I'm able to be here and be honest right now, because I'm sad a lot, and I'm happy a lot, and I'm scared a lot, and I love a lot. And I avoid buses. I'm H. Alan Scott. Thanks so much.
Bring the Sperm, jerk into complete challenge, Scott. He sits on your face, he changed your scarf, challenge, Scott. Oh, bum, bum, bum.